This is us. This is the house.
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the hidden details and references in Netflix's 2025 murder mystery dramedy, The Residence. Since this list includes key plot points and clues, there are major spoilers ahead.
I saw Elsie running out of the yellow room with a candlestick in her hand.
Number 10. Episode titles. For showrunner Paul William Davies, The Residence gave him the chance to pay homage to his favorite murder mystery influences.
Part of the fun of the show and the genre is often to pay respect to predecessors. I was influenced by so many movies and books. I wanted to weave that in throughout the show, and each episode I referenced famous murder mysteries.
Episode 1 shows the discovery of Chief Usher A.B. Winter's body, and is aptly titled after Edgar Allan Poe's The Fall of the House of Usher. Episode 2 is partly about tracing a mystery phone call, taking its name from Alfred Hitchcock's 1954 thriller Dial M for Murder.
That's what he said after that. After he hung up.
I am going to be dead by the end of the night.
Episode 3 centers on a missing knife, a reference to Rian Johnson's 2019 whodunit Knives Out. Episode 4 mainly focuses on Sheila Cannon, making the 1973 film The Last of Sheila a perfect title. Episode 5, in which Harry Hollinger becomes a suspect, is titled after the 1955 dark comedy The Trouble with Harry.
Harry Hollinger, Oliver Root,
Director of the CIA,
yes, and Walpole Bing.
the Australian industrialist.
Exactly. And one of Harry Hollinger's best friends, apparently.
Episode 6 comes from the 1949 film noir The Third Man, with Episode 7 inspired by the 1892 Sherlock Holmes short story The Adventure of the Engineer's Thumb. The finale references Gaston Leroux's 1907 book The Mystery of the Yellow Room.
Some episodes, the connection is more obvious. Sometimes you have to look for it a little bit. I think people who really love the genre do appreciate that history.
Number 9. Presidential Cameo. Speaking of Davies, in the third episode, he takes a page from legendary filmmaker Alfred Hitchcock.
Somebody asked me if I wanted to be in the show, and I was like, that'd be fun.
And makes a cameo as Calvin Coolidge, the 30th President of the United States. This quick cutaway scene shows him enjoying Bananas Foster, the dessert pastry chef Didier Godard wanted to serve for the state dinner.
Didier wanted to make desserts that Calvin Coolidge would be excited about. Didier and Winter had always got along well, for years. Didier was a perfectionist, and so was Winter.
Davies also made a cool casting choice with SNL alum Al Franken as Washington Senior Senator Aaron Filkins. The real-life former Minnesota senator served from 2009 to 2018.
You're not a political appointee.
No, sir. The work of the White House resident staff is not political in any way.
Same with this committee.
Number 8. Party Crashers. Cordelia Cupp initially overlooked one of many things that went wrong on the night of the state dinner.
Someone crashed the party.
Okay, so if you just give us some...
Two people crashed the party.
Hi, how are you?
A few guests and staff members tell her about two people, socialites Valentina and Lorenzo Moda, crashing the event.
Valentina and Lorenzo Moda were two Washington socialites who arrived at the east entrance a little after 6:15, mingled with the other guests in the reception area, and then met the president in the receiving line.
Some fans of The Real Housewives of D.C. were reminded of the 2009 scandal with alum Mikkel Salahi and husband Tarek Salahi. It was alleged the then couple attended President Barack Obama's first state dinner, despite not being invited. Valentina's also wearing a red gown like Mikkel. This reference is so far unconfirmed by the creators, but even if unintentional, the similarities are undeniable.
These were not people the Morgans would socialize with.
There's a little bit of a smell.
It turns out that they had snuck into the White House.
Number 7. An Abundance of Birds. Cordelia Cupp has instantly become a beloved fictional detective. And like all great sleuths, her talent for solving unsolvable crimes stems from her quirks.
I didn't set out to make her a birder from the start, but the deeper I got into the story, I realized it was one of the defining characteristics of the way that she approaches her job.
Her love of bird watching, a passion that requires patience and tons of research, informs the way she investigates. She's falcon-like in her sharp eye for detail and ability to hone in on a suspect or piece of evidence. Cordelia often uses birds to explain human behavior and regularly shares facts with the people around her.
You know the amazing thing about birds? Birds have the ability to focus. It's not that they're just good at hunting for food. They literally filter out things that are not food.
The show does feature actual birds, but bird designs also appear in places like Nan's wallpaper and St. Pierre's clothing. Hopefully viewers found the bird motif interesting, unlike some of the characters.
Can we not with all the birds this time? Just like, enough with the birds.
Number 6. Real White House stories. While The Residence tells a fictional story of murder and mayhem, the idea originated from a non-fiction book.
Nancy Reagan had an astrologer who set the presidential schedule. The Gorbachev-Reagan nuclear summit in Iceland, planned by the astrologer. People think the Cold War ended because of containment, but really it was just a new moon in Libra.
Davies was inspired to create the series after reading The Residence, Inside the Private World of the White House by Kate Anderson Brower. He inserted various anecdotes about real accounts of the occupants, guests, and staff members over the years. Some stories were made into plot points, such as the first family faking a guest room renovation to keep people from staying over, which former First Lady Jackie Kennedy apparently did in real life.
I know there's a room across the hall from me that's being renovated.
It's not being renovated.
Oh, so you're talking about a different room?
No, I'm saying that the room you think is being renovated is not actually being renovated. The president and Mr. Morgan asked the staff to make it look like it was being renovated because there was someone they didn't want to stay here.
President Morgan is rather particular about water pressure, supposedly mirroring former President Lyndon B. Johnson. Davies also took inspiration from the real-life Ficklin family, who had multiple generations working at the White House, much like the 3 generations of McCutcheons, in this case, all named George.
No, you want the other George McCutcheon.
Yes, there's a Big George and a Little George and me. And there were 2 other George McCutcheons before any of us.
Number 5. White House design accuracy. Even for people who haven't seen it all in person, it's evident that the White House set of The Residence looks great on screen.
Did Winter have an office?
Yes, on the mezzanine.
Show me. Can take the long way.
The show didn't film in Washington, D.C., but instead used sound stages in Los Angeles. Production designer Francois Audoui managed to recreate these historical places, including the Yellow Oval Room, the Red Room, the Green Room, the Blue Room, the Treaty Room, the Lincoln Bedroom, and the State Dining Room.
I really wanted to show the audience all the rooms, and each of them has a history. So we picked the version of it that we liked, and then sometimes embellished it slightly.
Everything from the wallpaper and furniture to books and dinner plates are highly detailed. For accurate decor, production even sourced or recreated artwork that might look familiar to anyone who's visited the White House.
Almost every detail you see in the White House, we tried to get as right as we could. In the China room, we really carefully selected all of the plates, the china in that room, just like we cared about everything that was in the pastry kitchen.
White House consultant Haley Rivero O'Connor also provided details for unphotographed areas like the basement and staff offices. Number 4. Betty Ford portrait. When White House butler Sheila Cannon is interviewed by Detective Cupp and Agent Park, she tells them about the first gentleman's mother, Nan Cox, and her alcohol use disorder.
I took a shot of the vodka before I delivered the bottle to Miss Cox. 2 shots. 3 shots, but I considered it a gratuity and I needed it. Sorry, not sorry.
Sheila eventually admits that she also indulged during the state dinner. Behind her is a portrait of President Gerald Ford's wife, Betty, painted by Felix de Cosio in 1977. The former First Lady of the United States was candid about her personal struggles with substance use disorders and co-founded the Betty Ford Center in California. While this framing may have been unintentional, it's a nice nod to her legacy.
But Miss Cox, and I know she is the president's mother-in-law. I shouldn't say anything, but I'm saying she likes to drink.
Number 3. No Oval Office. Even though The Residence is set in the White House, the creators opted out of discussing politics and didn't mention any political parties.
The work of the White House resident staff is not political in any way.
In fact, they avoided the non-residential areas like the East and West Wings altogether. The Yellow Oval Room plays a major role in the show, but did you notice we never see the other oval-shaped room?
The president and his family live on the 2nd and 3rd floors, although there are guest bedrooms on both floors, as you know. The first floor, the state floor, contains the great ceremonial rooms, the state dining room, the red room, the blue room, the green room, and the east room, the largest room in the house.
Similar to its source material, Davies wanted to focus on the inner workings of the residence staff. The state dinner, employee drama, and the eventual murder of A.B. Winter all take place in the same behind-the-scenes areas, so it makes sense that we wouldn't venture into other rooms, even the room.
Her parents, historically supporters of the other party, were major donors to the Morgans, And their support was instrumental, some think, in Perry Morgan's thin victory.
Number 2. Murder Mystery Homages. In addition to episode titles, Davies also peppered references and Easter eggs of legendary authors, writers, and filmmakers throughout the show, beginning with some name drops.
I don't care if she's Miss fucking Marple or Sherlock Holmes or whoever the Daniel Craig is in that fucking movie.
Benoit Blanc.
I want her in here now.
Nan Cox comes across the 1946 film Terror by Night, featuring Sherlock Holmes, arguably the most famous fictional detective in history.
I'm sure it's murder, Mr. Holmes. The door was locked. Every attendant has a key.
Do you consider this loud?
Your voice? No, it's a little throaty for my taste, but it's not loud.
The TV.
Oh, no.
Agatha Christie, known for iconic literary detectives Hercule Poirot and Miss Marple, gets a few mentions. Elsie's daughter is shown reading her 1926 novel The Murder of Roger Ackroyd. Chief Dokes, Detective Cupp, and Agent Park also discuss 1934's Murder on the Orient Express and its film adaptations.
Someday I'll read the book. Right, okay, that's weird. Anyway, if you remember, it turns out they all did it, all the suspects.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. One Big Clue Board. As we've discussed, The Residence has various references to genre classics.
Lock it down, now.
However, one of the first things about the many rooms of the actual White House that caught Davies' intrigue was how much it sounded like a clue board. Designed and manufactured in the 1940s, the murder mystery game is set inside a mansion featuring 9 rooms as potential crime scenes. The show has similarly themed rooms, including a game room, dining room, kitchen, and library, along with secret passageways.
She wanted to see everything, and so I showed her. 132 rooms, 147 windows, 28 fireplaces, 8 staircases, and 3 elevators spread across 6 floors and 2 mezzanines.
A knife plays a post-mortem role in Winter's death, and engineer Bruce Geller sees Elsie leave the yellow oval room holding a candlestick. 2 of the 6 weapons in Clue. The physicality of the characters is also reminiscent of the 1985 Clue film adaptation.
How can we possibly find out which of you did it?
What do you mean, which of you did it?
Well, I didn't do it. Well, one of us did. We all had the opportunity. We all had a motive.
Great.
Did you catch any of the details? Share your findings in the comments below.
Chief, how did I not see this?
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.